Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to Mirt, the Tales of the Cold Land. And surprisingly, I remember the title. Anyway, let's continue. Next morning, she slept right through breakfast. It was only the hateful sunlight creeping through the single narrow window that woke her. Nina realized straight away she'd have to hurry to make it into work. Because of the incident the night before, she'd skipped her usual diary entry. And that made her feel worse than ever. What? She'd kept up the habit every day for the past 5 years, and missing out unsettled her. She took her diary out of the nightstand. In its checkered fabric cover, she named them all, gave them all the same name, to be precise. This one was Henry VII, and its reign was almost over. She hastily jotted down the previous day's events, what she'd eaten for supper, what she felt like after work. What happened on campus? Right at the end, she wanted to describe that strange feeling, but she couldn't find the right words. Déjà vu? But then why did it seem so terrible? It was like something out of a dream. You could realize, still asleep, that you'd been here before and you knew where the dream was going. Even in a dream, that thing could still be scary, so if that happened in reality. Nana bent over the sink, ran the cold tub, and doused her face until she felt better. She changed into clean clothes and set off to work. It was late morning already, and the sun was shining overhead. This was the first warm day they'd had in a while. The yard outside was empty. The workers on the early shift had already left, and everyone else was still asleep. Was it really that late? Nana hadn't had the time to check. There was nobody around, she could ask. But wait, someone was approaching from the direction of the city. Nana was rather short-sighted, but soon enough she could make out a face. Sasha! He drew near the first building as she came downstairs, and looked her up and down with a puzzled expression. Good morning! He offered carefully. Good morning. Do you know the time? I think I'm late.
9:30, but no, you are not late. Blame Steva. Nobody told us we had a new recruit starting.
I beg your pardon? She froze in the middle of the staircase. What was going on?
Is this your first day? Boss Steva is off to Voronezova. He'll be gone a few hours, but I can help you out. I mean, I don't have the keys, but you can drop your things off at my place, and then I can take you over to see the major.
What are you talking about? Her hands clenched involuntarily into fists.
You're a new recruit, right?
Are you blind? What's the matter with you? She was angry now. It wasn't as if they were friends. Nana didn't have friends, but they knew each other. Damn it, they'd exchanged small talk countless times. He couldn't just have forgotten her. Was this a joke? Should she play along for fear of looking stupid? Her shriek of frustration had Sasha stiffening.
Sorry, do I know you?
He said anxiously. Did he really not recognize her? Was he drinking too much the other night? Maybe he was another one who liked green pills.
Where is it you're from?
I'm Nana! She cried, her voice rising in despair. It struck her this was the first time she'd referred to herself by her nickname. This was no time to think about that, however.
Well, if you say so.
Sasha looked as if someone had thrown a bucket of cold water in his face. Nana ran down the stairs and pushed past Sasha, shoulder to shoulder. What the hell was he doing? She fled the campus. First a strange night, and now a surreal morning. Still with this hard feeling, as if she hadn't yet woken from the nightmare and couldn't work out how to do that. She realized she was following her usual route, for she wasn't at all sure if she ought to go into the work. Perhaps she could call in sick. Better to miss a day if she'd already missed an hour and a half, but the familiar journey felt comforting, at least. The sun had grown hotter, almost scalding. Nana took off her jacket and put it over the crook of her arm. She reached the office and decided she wasn't going in. It was too late for that. And after all, if she'd never once skipped work on or been tardy, why split hairs at this point? Nana turned and began her walk back home. She started mulling over plans for the day. Perhaps she'd just rest. She could read a book. Maybe go to the river after lunchtime. Oh! She heard someone call out right behind her and abruptly swung around.
So sorry, nearly walked straight to you there.
What? Who is it?
That's my second nearby stranger.
Again, the situation struck on us oddly familiar. Was this man she bumped into the corridor last night? She'd not seen his face, but she had a good memory for voices. Who was this for? Nana had no friends, but she knew everyone on campus by sight. First, Sasha couldn't remember her, and now she couldn't place this guy.
Is everything okay?
She realized all of a sudden that she'd just been standing here looking at him blankly while he apologized.
Fine, I'm fine.
The young man turned and walked off, while Nana watched him go. He was a total stranger. Chapter 2 Metastasis. Anton, 5th July? Anton filled the kettle with water and placed it on the cooker. For some reason the apartment was empty. Neither Sasha nor Grain were in. Ordinarily the campus would have been preparing for the evening festivities right about now, and yet everything was quiet. Anton looked out of the window. The courtyard was deserted. He rested his forehead against the glass and squinted into the gathering mist, and then he thought about Veronica again, albeit in a different way. What way? He wondered about this business of falling in love with a girl to whom he'd never even spoken a single word. A girl who belonged to someone else. It seemed like a dream. Was it honestly happening to him? No, he's just stupid. He'd never fallen for nobody at first sight, and never with somebody already spoken for. He wasn't that sort of man. Was he? Did he still think that way? Or had he been kidding himself? He tried to recall the moment he saw Veronica for the first time. She turned his head. Alright, she was radiant. Extraordinarily so. But it wasn't just that. He felt as if he knew her already, somehow that he'd always been in love with her, and now the magic had faded. Somehow, he'd sobered up. Sasha's good, man, Anton told himself. Thou shalt not covet the neighbor's wife, right? And he didn't. It really wasn't him. Yeah, Veronica was a delight. To talk to as well as look at, but it wasn't love, was it? Surely it was just this imagination playing games with him. He knew the answer well just as he was about to put it together in his head. People began streaming in the courtyard. Anton lifted his forehead from the window. He swallowed overcome by a sudden conviction something bad was happening. He turned off the gas beneath the kettle and went outside, then down the stairs. Several locals were crowding around Sasha. Anton could clearly hear him, cautious but firm.
You two head for laundry. Here, take the flashlight.
Two men peeled away from him through the crash. What's going on? Anton asked. Lilia was standing right next to him.
Nancy, she's vanished. You haven't seen her at all?
Anton shook his head.
Sasha thought we should split up and search the neighborhood in pairs. She might have got lost in the woods and there's wild animals in there.
Anton remembered stumbling around in the forest in the dark. He'd only found the way out again thanks to Marquise, who'd set Nancy back on the path. The crowd was nearly all gone, with people hurrying out of the courtyard 2 at a time. Anything I can do?
I'll head for Sandra with Gray and the rest of you.
Sasha!
The navigator entered the courtyard from the direction he was pointing. Something wrong?
This party!
Veronica began, but Sasha cut her off.
Not now, okay. Nancy's gone missing.
What? But I saw her just yesterday, down by the river!
It struck Anton. For some reason he couldn't quite explain that Diana was visibly out of breath, and yet Veronica was not. The river. When was this?
The evening we came back from work together, we split up on the riverbank. She said she was headed for the campus, but I couldn't say for certain.
It's a lit, I guess. We need some people to go and search down there.
How about us?
Lilia pointed to herself and the other 2 women.
That's free.
Not happening. Sasha shook his head. You're all girls and none of you is much of a threat. One of you and... He glanced at those few men he hadn't sent away already, then stopped and Anton. Anton as well, that will work.
We are her friends.
Lilia protested. You think we want to just, you know, stand here biting our fingernails if there is some way we could help out? Fancy help! Get the keys and open up Nancy's room. I took a look through the window and she wasn't there, but I might have missed something. Lilia bit her lip, but chose not to argue any further. The three women were staring at Anton as if waiting for his answer. What? Sure, I'll go, okay? He nodded. Go with Lilia. Go with Diana. Go with Veronica! Does it matter? Lilia.
So, should I go with him?
Sasha nodded.
Do you know where we're going?
I saw you actually. With Nancy, the other it was near the steep slope, right?
I guess you do now. I wouldn't stay out there too long, mind you.
Diana handed him the flashlight. We'll try and be quick. Haha. He walked towards the river with Lilia in tow, listening to the sounds of the forest. This might not be the
best time, but I wanted to apologize.
Huh? For what?
For that little speech of mine after the fight club. It wasn't none of my business.
It doesn't bother me. No apology necessary. It's not like I was offended. He thought about how much to tell her, then added, I think you were just jumping to conclusions, for I wasn't wailing away or anything. I like Veronica, that's true, but I had no idea what she's spoken for. It was just this overpowering sensation, very strange, like nothing I'd ever felt before.
That still sounds like a positive stuff, to be honest.
The forest grew a little brighter as they reached the river. Anton descended the bank, skidding down the incline. He caught his foot on a rock in the darkness and almost lost his balance. He managed to stay upright with an effort and finally came to a halt at the bottom. I could have broken my neck, he thought. No point in risking that too. You stay put, I'll take a look. He shouted up the bank, and then he began to wander along the water's edge. It was a cloudless night. The stars shimmered, reflected in the river. Everything was silent except for the sound of the running water. This was pointless. Anton said to the empty air. There's nothing here. Climbing back up the incline was trickier than he'd expected. Lilia offered him a hand, but Anton was far too self-conscious to accept. They made their way back to campus in silence, heads bowed. Everything was still quiet. Sasha and the others were yet to return. Lilia sat down heavily on one of the benches, fidgeting nervously. Anton had no idea what else they could do, so he decided to join her.
Anton, Lilia!
Diana shot. She came down the stairs at a run, visibly excited. No, Anton thought, joyful almost.
Look at this!
She thrust a sheet of paper at them, plainly torn from a notebook of some kind.
She must have put it in the door frame, but then it fell out and went under the bed. It's a message from Nancy. Dear neighbors and dear Steve, sorry, I'm leaving. I know I signed a contract and I'm letting you all down, but I can't do this anymore. I can't say I've been feeling terrible for the past few days and it's only got worse every time. I can explain all this too well, but I just know I really need to get out of here as soon as possible. Forgive me, please, Nancy.
Whew.
That's it.
Anton let out a sharp breath.
Well, that's something, I guess. And here we are about to panic.
It's not like anyone could have seen this coming. Presently Sasha and Green returned, and the other residents began to file into the courtyard. Diana, Lilia, and Veronica read out the contents of the note again every time someone new arrived, and Anton had soon become heartily sick of it.
She had a month left on the contract. How could she just walk out on us?
And her shifts at the hospital. Who's going to cover 15 shifts? You think Siva can find another nurse? I hope she's alright.
I should phone back home. I think Steve had a number for one of her relatives.
If she's got any, she told me there was someone waiting for her to get back.
We'll work something out. Trust me, she's fine. Nothing happened. She'll make it home in a couple of days. Then you can give her a call.
I suppose.
Veronica responded, but it was clear from her tone of voice she wasn't feeling half so confident. Sasha drew her into his arms and gently hugged her.
She's left, sweetheart. I mean, it's a shame, but what more can we do? She made her choice. She wasn't happy here, I suppose, or else she missed her parents.
Anton waved goodbye and headed off to get some sleep. if only for a few minutes, he was due to work in a couple of hours, at which time the cycle would begin again, ceaselessly shuffling papers. After such a restless night, the words were usually a blur. There were still places on the map he had yet to investigate, perhaps later, after work. Right now his eyes were growing heavy. Anton let himself drift off at last, into dreamland. Something that I would love to do. I need to get the recording done. Siva got in the car and shut the door. Ready? He asked in a low voice. Son nodded from the back seat, and off they went. They drove in silence. The early morning sun was pale. The light split along the road, slowly creeping forward, sparkling white like a field of stars, a whole galaxy of them. On last night, he'd taken the same road at speed, afraid he wouldn't get there in time. Sun had fainted during the ride. Thank God he hadn't been drinking, Siva told himself. Otherwise they'd never have made it, for God didn't seem to have much to do with it, given the circumstances. He'd been operating on instinct for almost 20 hours straight, with no time to consider anything that left. He signed form after form, listed to multiple doctors, ran up and down between floors of the hospital. All of them kept his attention for quite some time, but now Siva had no way to ignore the simple fact. Son was dying. Siva exhaled through clenched teeth. No, he told himself, keep calm, get it together. I know it's your decision. He began, surprised at how even his voice sounded. And I shouldn't twist your arm, but if you don't do anything, think of how much it will hurt everyone else. You heard him, the doctor. Son's voice sounded horribly thin. Apparently he still hadn't come to terms with this. There's no chance. It's pointless. Siva met his gaze in the rear-view mirror. The other man's eyes were empty of emotion. Even so, we can just let you walk over here. Son shook his head wearily. You're talking like it's fight, but this is the death sentence. Come on, fourth stage, out of nowhere, way bada. What's going to do? And you never noticed? The other man's eyes flashed. It's not the kind of thing you just hand wave away. Siva said nothing, and Son fell silent. Presently, he sighed. Sorry, I should. Last week I would use you remembering me as an asshole. Stop it. It's fine. No, seriously, I'll do it. I'll get treatment. Not like I think it will do any good, but I'm too scared to contemplate anything else. Siva could feel a tick developing over one eye, so he shut it. He could almost convince himself that this was all a dream. What was going on for far too long, mind and much too convincing to be funny. I'll go for treatment. Sat repeated and licked his lips, then he added, just one thing. Anything you want? Don't tell them I couldn't take it. If they think I'm dying, you know how they'd be. You're just going to act like you're fine? Explain the cancer and the treatment. Just leave out my chance, it's alright. Siva nodded slowly. Son turned towards the window, and as far as Siva could tell, quickly drifted off to sleep. Siva wondered then exactly how he would explain it to everyone. He made a phone call to Mirt a few hours ago. While they were waiting for the results of the scan, he'd heard that Nancy left a note and subsequently skipped town. That was strange. He'd have been a little more concerned about it had it not been for Son's illness. So he'd get the other men back home, and all the neighbors would be there. Tara, Mark, Anna, Lisa, Alex. They'd want some good news, and he'd have to tell them something. But what exactly? Should he let Son give whatever story he wanted everybody to hear? Son said, his voice hoarse. You okay? Fine, can I tell you something? This might not be the best time, but I don't think there is going to be anyone else. Steve realized they were getting close to Mirt. The road was cracked and dotted with potholes. He slowed the car. Can I tell you something that never led to anything good? But if someone told someone from the campus, it was probably important. Steven nodded, trying not to show how tense he felt. No problem, what is it? Something I heard. Conversation. It was the day before you and Mark had your, little tussle. It was just after midday and I was sitting in the backyard. You know, my walls are paper thin, right? And if I'm outside, say, Taro's in her garden too, I can hear everything. I'm trying to tell you I didn't mean to listen in. This was meant for me, but I still heard it. Go on. The street's always dead silent right after lunch. Everyone's asleep, and I heard a knock. I looked out of the house and it was Mark. Banging on Tara's door. He looked weird, just not smart, like usually is. Shirt undone, hair over place, straight away, just felt wrong. So Tara opened the door, and he started shouting at her, asking when exactly she planned to tell him she talked to you in the cafe. To me? That's what he said, and apparently that new arrival, the albino, he couldn't read him. Correct. Siva said wearily. Tara told me that much at least. Tara heard this and just froze, standing dead still. She told him she'd had some bad premonitions. Mirt asked her, so what do we do? And she says, we need to solve the problem now before it gets any worse. Solve the problem? And you have no idea what she meant? No, hold on, it gets weirder. Mark was thinking for a bit, and I can't be sure about this, but I could have sworn, and then he said, do you honestly want to start over? But what about Anna, our child? I mean, I had no idea Anna was pregnant at that point, so it didn't make much sense. What? Siva swallowed, feeling a lump in his throat. Start over. So, what did she say to that? She told him, no, not this time. It won't fix anything. It's only going to put off the end. I have no idea what she meant. I thought you might. Sorry, no idea. Start over. Do you want to start over? It was all he could think about. Those words drove everything else from his head, but Sam was still talking. So Tara says, I want you to promise you're going to do exactly what I tell you. And Mark said, I promise. Whatever it takes. Then I heard Tara say, we have to get rid of the animal to get things back on course. I mean, I know you just get rid of. That didn't sound good. I saw Mark nod. He glanced over in my direction. I felt like he'd seen me, so I hit. I couldn't catch anymore. Appreciate it, seriously. I know you thought I could clear it up. I don't have a clue, I'm afraid. I guess Mark could. I suppose. Siva gave a mirthless smile. I reminded him after what happened with the fight. Oh no, I knew that was coming. You know why he did it? Why he's like this, I mean. Siva could hear sound breathing heavily as he searched for the right words. That whole split personality thing, I know it's his parents, right? No, okay, look, I shouldn't go into this. It wasn't Mark who gave you a beating. Siva almost answered with a wisecrack, but bit it back. This wasn't the time. He sped up on the right, and the endless campus drama to be over and done with. He saw the telephone poles. Now they were strung alongside the road, like lifelines tethering him to Mirt. Nearly there. They were close now. They came back to familiar friends, finally back home, Siva thought. Should I drop you straight off, or do you need something to eat? Take me home, please. They turned off the main road and drove the rest of the way to Sam's house. Tara was waiting on her porch, watching the car as they pulled in. Alex was looking through the window. The others were coming outside. Evidently they'd heard the engine. None of them had been asleep. They were all waiting to hear what happened. Siva turned to look at Sam. We don't tell them anything, are you sure? Yeah, look at them, they're worried sick. She pushed the door open. Sam pushed the door open, got out and let the crowd gather around him. Steve leaned back in his seat and put both hands over his face, trying to collect himself. He waited until everyone had ushered Sam inside and finally climbed out of the car. Tara was still waiting. If you want to tell me? He asked her bluntly, without even a word of greeting. She solemnly shook her head. If you're sure? He nodded, wearily, and pursed his lips. Okay then. Tara stood there, watching him in silence with her head down, and then said, You want to talk? Okay, alright, just inside, come on. Siva had never actually been to her house. He'd seen the outside numerous times, but it just looked like an ordinary bungalow, much like Sam's, only painted peach. What inside? He left his car outside Sam's and followed Tara as she stepped around the puddles. She pushed open the door. Apparently she left it unlocked, and disappeared into the shadows. Steve crossed the threshold. He was instantly reminded of the Moon Cafe. That same gloom, still with the same motley selection of cushions and identical pattern lamps. A dream catcher hung from the ceiling. Presumably, it worked double time, harvesting all her ominous visions. Sit down then. He sat down on the sofa. Taro lit a candle. So, what is it you want to hear? I got scared the other day? You mean the doctors didn't tell you? She sat down in one of the chairs and folded her arms across her chest. But if you knew what was wrong with him, why didn't you say anything? That's just it. I predict the same evening only. It was supposed to be different. I don't know, it wasn't meant to happen, okay? Understand? Has that ever happened before? Never, I mean, I read the promotions wrong. Now and again. But this was different. There was a mistake somehow in the regular course of events. And everything's been messed up and it's only going to get worse. Like stones rolling downhill. Can you fix it? Me? No. But Mark can, I think. Stia thought about the conversation she'd apparently with Mark. They want to start over. Was there actually something between the two of them? And if so, when would that have happened? Before he got here, or afterwards? Had he just missed it? Surely not. Taro was one of Mark's entourage, particularly his right hand. Maybe he felt the same way about her as he did for Rana. But could you call that a relationship? Mark and Taro, was that seriously possible? And did she still have feelings for him? Come on, Steve thought himself. You're getting hung up on a gossip when you've got more pressing concerns. You did what you could, when I needed your help, Taro said evenly. But you need to leave it to Mark now. If he can't get this done, then I'll take your word for it. You look absolutely done. Just get some rest while you're here. So, do you see what happens to him? To all of us? I tried to ignore the visions now. They failed me once. I don't think I want to trust them again. And the cards, they never lie, right? You said so yourself. I don't know. Maybe. Still, let me try and tell you a fortune. I can't read myself. She took it back from the table. One she'd crafted herself. The moon deck. Taro shuffled the cards and quickly laid 3 of them in front of Stiva, face down. Son told you didn't hear about the conversation? Stiva shivered. It felt as if she'd read his mind. She'd not even been able to do that before. He did. It's fine. She turned over the first card. He'd seen this one for Bleak House. Not a good sign, he said, remembering the fortune she'd read for him a year ago. That depends. It's a good place. Just something bad happened there. She turned over another card and let out a little gasp. Flower, something fragile is to break. Not that you'd want to, it's too beautiful for that. But the flower is meant to wither and die after all. Who are we to interfere with that? Last but not least. Siva saw her expression as she turned over the final card. Taro caught sight of it before he did, and for an instant her face became a mask of fear. Blackout, she said, her voice unchanged. Not something I ever want to see again. And that means? Oh, you know, grief, death, despair. It's not as if you actually believe in all this, right? Steve asked himself. He wasn't at least a bit superstitious. He'd mocked fortune tellers and psychics before he ended up in Mirt. But here the impossible was possible. Yeah, he believed her. How could he not? Well, that's an unsettling selection. Taro bent her head over the cards. Mark had a similar reading back in July. Remember what happened? How could he forget? For Stiva would have been glad of the opportunity, but memory unfortunately was not a quilt you could snip pieces from whatever you pleased. So, what do I do? Just stay alert, be careful. Everything will be fine. He'd never heard her say anything of the sort, and that alone gave Stiva hope. If Taro made a promise like that, then she was clearly sure it would come true. I think we're done. I'll see you at supper time, Stiva. No, wait. You knew that son told me everything he overheard. don't think maybe you ought to explain that?
Steve, look, we talked about this.
We didn't talk, you just decided not to. I don't recall having any say.
I told you everything I could, Steve. You think I like this? It's for your own good. It will make you happy. It will help you understand what to do.
Then I guess we're done. Thank you. Thanks so much. Steve stooped, furious, seized his coat, and stalked towards the door.
Steve, just wait.
He swung round to see Taro had stood up, too, as if she were about to run after him.
Look, if you insist on charging into his head or down. Okay, ask me anything, just one question.
Steve stood there, rooted to the spot. Naturally, his mind had instantly gone blank. Was there any reason to believe her, which gave him a real answer, or just more vague platitudes and half-truths? She said why. One. How come White is such a threat? Let's go. Alright, if you insist, just...
Alright, if you insist, just sit down, okay? He hates talking to people like this.
Siva did as he was told and lowered himself to the armchair. He felt faintly nauseous. Was it the drive? Or maybe the smell of Taro's herbs?
I don't even know if he's a threat. Not anymore, I mean, I thought so. But after what's happened... I started to worry back when Mark couldn't read him. It was beyond anything I ever expected.
But beyond that, let's say your vision was right at least. In that, he's our most pressing problem. So, what is it you think he's going to do? Run around knifing people in the street?
Of course he's not.
She fell silent, and Steve waited for her to continue.
The balance gets weaker by the day, as if the lights are going out one by one. I start to think that any random passerby could tip it without even meaning to. Someone's dying, Steve, and it was never even meant to happen, not like this.
Steve shivered. He still couldn't get used to the way she casually came out with things she couldn't possibly have known.
Maybe we can tip it back into place. If nothing else happens to knock it out of the kill, then... kill her?
So what do we do?
Leave it to Mark, he's the only one who can deal with it. Time will tell whether it all worked out right now. Just sit back and enjoy the festivities.
Festivities, huh? Steve thought. Cupola night. He'd practically forgotten. Last year was a party to remember, and yet right now he was in the mood. Let's end the episode here and we'll continue tomorrow. Haha. Alright, seriously, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow. If you understood what I just said, bye bye.